Hey everyone, it's Mr. Alas. It's 6th period, April 27, 2022. This is task 3. I hope it will be quick, so let's give it a go. If you've discovered this video, you likely know that the videos are already on my classroom, on Google Classroom at the top. For step 1, this is not graded, but before we even go forward with that, I'd like to walk you through these questions, and I just want you to think to yourself whether or not you can answer them. The first one is if you actually even remember the verb tener in Spanish, and that's just a yes or no question. The second one, if you know whether or not tener is an infinitive, or if it's the infinitive or the conjugated form of the verb. It's one or the other. I want to know if you remember what the verb itself means, what we have used it in, and whether or not you could use it in a sentence. If you don't know or don't remember any of these things, that's fine. You don't have to put these in your notebook. I was just curious, and I wanted you to think through these 5 questions before moving forward. Step 2. First of all, here you have the chart, or the conjugation chart from task 2. In task 2, we conjugated the verb ser. In task 3,
Pardon this interruption. I need Javante Williams for dismissal. Thank you.
In task 3, we are doing the same exact thing, but we are doing the verb tener. Okay, please get used to conjugating. It is unavoidable in all languages that we study or that you will come across. Start on a piece of paper that's blank. Just do exactly what I'm doing. After you do this a couple times, it will be second nature to you. Write the verb at the top. Draw a line across there. And then you put single here, or singular, and then plural. Make that line kind of wide. And split that section. I did this all in the conjugation video that I posted yesterday. If you are not comfortable or you feel shaky about the idea of just conjugation in general, that goes into conjugation more in depth than this one does. Again, this is part of the graded work for task 3, so make sure you do this, otherwise you'll be not graded for this section, and this is about 50% of the grade. So I've just put my pronouns. I don't know if you recognize these abbreviations. They're abbreviations for the verb, or for usted and ustedes. Here you have your singulars, and here you have your plural pronouns. Now I'm going to conjugate the verb tener. My hope is that at this point, if you have already that you have already done this on your own, and if you haven't, that you do this on your own. So I'm going to put some of them in, and I'll leave the rest for you to figure it out. Yo tengo, which you should know. Ella, usted tiene. I'm going to do tenemos. Nosotros tenemos. And then vosotros tenéis. It's an ER verb. It's got one of those stems that changes, but otherwise it follows the regular rules of conjugation. Okay, what am I doing right now? So I'm going to just bring your attention down here below the table. So once again, this is step 2 of task 3. This is 50% of the grade. Just fill out the rest of it. Have this whole thing on a page, and you will be good. Now I'm going to just break this down here. So we have the pronoun yo tengo, tú tienes. Oh, I'm giving away the answer here. Ella tiene, and also usted tiene. Okay, and what I want you to understand is that the pronouns, when you pair them with the conjugated form of the verb, I want you to know what they really truly mean, because one can't truly be separate from the other. If the verb tener equals or means to have, then I want you to think about what yo tengo means. You already know what that means. It means I have. Tú tienes is you have. Él or ella is he or she has, right? And then usted tiene is we don't have one in English. Let me put this in a way to make it a little bit more understandable, I hope. I'm going to put the pronouns, I, you, he or she, and then I'm going to line up the conjugations. I have, you have, he or she has. Okay? These are conjugations. These are pronouns. We use it in English every day, but it's automatic. So I want you to keep all of this in mind, because this is what we consider a direct translation. And that's important, because in the next part of the assignment, it becomes a little bit tricky, right? Because a lot of times, direct translations do make sense. If you put something into Google Translate or Reverso.net, it will be it will make sense. It's hard to do this way without really showing it. So, direct translation versus a contextualized translation. So, for example, we know the sentence: Yo tengo 15 años. We know that question as I'm 15 years old. But let's do a direct translation into English and see if that works. Well, first of all, actually, this will be helpful for the assignment. I have the sentence here. The assignment is going to ask you what the pronoun is. Yo. Then it's going to ask you, I believe, the direct translation. So yo is I, tengo is I have, right? And this is 15 years. This right here, this is your direct translation. Now, this line below that is called a contextualized translation. It means that this translation here, the blue arrow, whatever's going to come here, is how we understand it in our language, which is English. Now, when we say it in Spanish, I have 15 years, that doesn't make sense in English. For English, we know it as I'm 15 years old. Okay? More specifically, we know it as I am 15 years old. Now, you can see that this is not the same verb, right? But tengo itself comes from the verb tener. It has been conjugated down to tengo, and the direct translation into Spanish, I have 15 years, doesn't work. So we have our version, which makes sense to us, which is I am 15 years old. Now, for that, and the last part of the assignment is to just write what the pronoun is in English. And that's it. But note one more thing that I haven't actually spoken about in my classes today is that note that the verbs are different in each language, right? That comes from the verb tener, right? In Spanish, and am in English actually comes from the verb to be. Good. That's done. Here is... Okay. So I'm going to do one example. Sentence 2. What is our Spanish pronoun? We don't have one here. Okay, it's not in the sentence, which means it's hidden, or what we call explicit, not explicit. What's the word I can't think of right now? Implicit? Well, it's hidden. Oh my goodness, I can't think of that word right now. It's an ELA word that I use all the time. Anyway, it's hidden, but it's there. And we don't know, it's not given. So we look to our chart, our conjugation chart, and we see that this, the tienes, it's matched up with one of the, it's matched up with tu, right? There's your answer right there, by the way. Well, at this point, it doesn't really matter if I erase it, but it matches up with tu. The pronoun is tu, right? It's hidden. It's implied, that's the word. So truly, that question should actually be, ir al, etc., etc., right? Tú tienes que ir al baño. We don't know what that means yet. Hopefully, we might. But that tu right there is implied. Because in Spanish, once you know the conjugation, most of the time, you know exactly who it is that you're talking to, whether or not you're talking to them, about them, and how many people there are involved. Okay? So our Spanish pronoun is tú. What is the direct translation of tener in this case? The direct translation, because remember the verb tener is what? Tener equals to have. So here is tu, which is you, and then is you have. Now, let's do the English translation, okay? It's you, well, this is where you look it up on the internet. You have to, let me erase some of this. Go to the bathroom. This is our English translation. And you know, after you've looked up or after you've translated it, you'll see that it does match up to the direct translation. The only difference is that in English we add the do. Okay, and the answer to the last one is the English pronoun being you. Okay, that's basically it for that. Make sure all of the sentences have the verb tener in them. It's not a mix of it's not two different verbs like task 2 was. So give that a shot. I actually left the answer for number 1 on there. So use that as an example, and also use this as an example, right? Like I said, I have 15 years versus I am 15 years old. Okay. There's one more thing. Oh, I think that's it for the assignment. I'm not sure if I did this in the video yesterday, but once again, I want to give a shout out to reverso.net, especially for conjugation. Reverso.net, you type it in, brings you here. Make sure it's in Spanish. If you don't already know, if you need a squiggly, for example, where'd it go? For example, I need an enye, which is the N with the squiggle. There it is. It's at the bottom of the box. I'm not sure why it's disappearing for me when I zoom in on the iPad, but there it is. Okay. And it's a big difference. Without the squiggle, your translation is that. Okay. And with the squiggle, you have that. Now, the other cool thing is that at the top of reverso.net, you have the conjugation option. I don't know why it disappears, but that's just me, I think. Click on it. Make sure that your language is Spanish in the box. type the verb. Click on conjugate. And here you go. If you don't know how this verb sounds in Spanish or how it's pronounced,
Tener. Tener.
it does it for you. I'm not sure actually if you can hear it on a recording, but that's that. Everything here in the present tense is what we need to know. The top three are singular, and the bottom three are plural. It breaks it down for you, but all in one, 6 rows. And I preferred the T-chart version, and I hope that you considered trying that out and getting used to it to see if it is helpful for you, because it is clearer for you to know really who you're talking to and whether you're talking to them or about them, etc., etc. All right, that's it for now. If you have any questions, send